I have recently been informed that it is difficult for people to find one thing that they love, one thing that they want to do for the rest of their lives. That conversation was baffling for me. Since I began the first tenets of myself, I have always wanted to be everything. To be lacking in love for the possibilities of the world around you seems impossible for me. With all my luck in mind, I think the question for me personally would be if I'm happy. And I think the answer is still no. From the moment I could move, I drew. Many children have fantastical imaginations that birth hybrid animals and wayward fairies. I did not. Meticulously, I drew things that I thought children should draw. I drew the same scenes over and over again, particularly scenes of my family. I was obsessed with controlling our comings and goings. But more than anything, I was obsessed with depicting myself. After the age of 11, I stopped creating visual art. I had found a new creative mistress that I was much more attuned to. But when I returned to it, my efforts were pathetically childlike. However, they were no longer the efforts of a child desperately trying to invent an easily controlled life. As I watched, no matter how they morphed, they remained focused on an obsession with self, not in a flattering way, but in a desperate, twisted sense that fought against its lack of proficiency as it grappled with the weight of its ideas. It seemed that no matter what, I couldn't get enough of me out of me. That's one of the reasons I decided to make this documentary, because one of the best ways to vomit up what you need to is by writing it out. When I could write, I wrote stories to follow my drawings. I wrote my first book when I was 6 years old. When my drawings could no longer fit my novels, I abandoned them altogether in pursuit of what I felt was my ultimate destiny. My first huge inspiration was Margaret Mitchell's Gone with the Wind. As with everything else, I took the story and wrote myself into it. The joy and passion I felt just thinking of my stories was so incredibly orgasmic that I couldn't bear to write them half the time. I would just sit outside on my swing set and breathe the cold morning air, having sat up till dawn rambling and vibrating over my own incredible, untouchable world. Within writing, I was completely happy. I was talented and successful. The obsessive tendencies were not an exaggeration. In 2015, at 14 years old, riddled with untreated obsessive-compulsive disorder, I had a nervous breakdown so intense I could barely swallow. I forcibly lost 13 pounds in 2 weeks, my body spared only by applesauce. My entire identity was rewritten. I was a pulsating, bleeding, blank slate. I wandered our family farm in a daze. The only respite I had was when I would crash into comatose sleep at the end of each day. My parents had never believed in psychiatric care, and so I received none. I was alone, sinking further into my own disjointed reality with each passing day. Little did I know that someone else was alone in a personal hell far worse than my own, and soon they would be dead. When David Bowie died, many great artists were born. The people who emerged from that event are a specific set of violent cells. I am one of them, and I erupted beneath the stars on the same swing set where I had spent the majority of my creative life, never dreaming that I would amount to anything. After meeting David Bowie, everything just exploded. Everything imaginable. And it was everything to me. Here's how I envision the end of my life. I'm very old, and obviously, well, I guess not obviously, but I'm an old woman, and I'm walking down a beach, And as I walk down the beach, there is no weight. There is no pressure. There is nothing going on. It's all been achieved. And complete stability and happiness are just there because there's nothing left to worry about. It's done. I'm done. It's gone. You know, it has been completed. My life's work, which is my life. My life's work is my life, the way it was for Warhol and Bowie and a lot of other people. But it's finished. And now I can just walk down the beach in the rain and listen to music. And that music doesn't need to be a particular way. And the day doesn't need to be a particular way. Nothing needs to be particular anymore. It can just be. And that's how I hope it is before I die, at least for a day.